As a mom who is also a dietitian, one of my biggest priorities and really life's missions is to feed my family well with nourishing, wholesome food, and that includes what we are snacking on. So I wanted to share with you guys a few recipes, all of which I will link down below for you, that are easy-ish. You can make them at home, and they're going to be far better than the store-bought packaged options, at least most of them that you're going to find at the store. And I'm going to kind of talk a little bit more about that and go a little bit deeper on store-bought snacks, why I choose mainly not to buy them. But also I wanted to share with you some of the downsides of snacking in general and just kind of how to approach snacking in a healthy way from all angles with your family. So first I want to talk about store-bought snacks. So there are some wholesome options out there for sure. They are not all bad. However, most especially that are marketed towards kids are highly processed and honestly just really disappointing to me as a mom, to me as a dietitian. The options are, it's slim pickings for truly healthy, nourishing snacks. And a lot of times you're going to end up spending a lot on the more wholesome options. So mainly when you're looking at store-bought snacks, you're looking at low quality ingredients. So many of them have high fructose corn syrup. They may have artificial colors, lots and lots of added sugars, even in things that maybe aren't even sugary or like sweet that you would think that would have a lot of added sugar, vegetable oils, just artificial additives and thickeners and gums and all kinds of ingredients that improve shelf stability and maybe even palatability because it's so processed, but it does not do very much as far as quality. It strips a lot of the nutrition. So that's one of the reasons I like to avoid. But another huge reason is most snacks that are like packaged and on the go have so high carbohydrate ratios compared to fiber and fat and protein, which just kind of sends you or your kids on a blood sugar roller coaster. So when I'm making my own snacks, I really like to make sure that there is fat and protein and fiber. One of my favorite ways to sneak more protein into basically anything without messing with the flavor is collagen powder. That's what I used in this recipe right here. It didn't alter the flavor at all, but it did boost the protein, which helps make a more filling snack that's not going to mess with your blood sugar. One of my most favorite collagen powders is the multi-collagen protein by Ancient Nutrition. Ancient Nutrition offers really high quality whole food based supplements, which is something I always look for, that combine the power of ancient traditions with modern science to make truly effective products. So the multi-collagen protein has 10 different types of collagen in it. And if you've ever looked into how collagen supplementation actually impacts the body, then you'll know that different types of collagen actually support different areas of the body. For example, some types of collagen will only support your joints. Other types of collagen will go towards your hair and your skin and your nails. But since this collagen is a blend, it kind of covers all the bases. So you're getting the collagen in there that's going to support the healthy hair and the youthful skin, but you're also getting the collagen in there that's going to help with joint stiffness and mobility. It also contains some probiotics, which is going to help support your gut flora, and also a big dose of vitamin C, which is necessary for the proper utilization of that collagen once it gets into your body. 2 scoops of this powder will give you a whopping 20 grams of collagen. And the most amazing thing about collagen is it has no flavor. It's pretty much undetectable. So you can mix it into liquids, you can mix it into different recipes. And it's just such a great way to boost not only the protein, but in this case, the vitamin C and the probiotics of really anything you want. So if you guys want to try their multi-collagen protein, I will leave a link down in the description for you, but also I have a discount code as well. It's 15 Bristow, which will get you 15% off on Amazon. Now, all of the recipes I'm sharing with you in this video, with the exception of the fruit snacks, which just have protein, they are all balanced, meaning they contain fat and protein and fiber along with the carbohydrates, which is going to help not only make you feel more satisfied, fuller, longer, but it's going to help, keep that blood sugar steady, which is going to reduce your cravings. And it's going to do what it's actually supposed to do, which is tie you over to the next meal and not actually just make you hungrier or want even more snacks. And I think that is a really key point here. We have become kind of snack obsessed in our culture. like over the last 30 years, our snacking has basically tripled as people. Like snacking just didn't really used to be a big thing, and now it is absolutely a thing. And I think a lot of it has to do with just them being readily available. They're so easy to, just buy from the store and have all kinds of packaged snacks that are just at an arm's reach. And, when you think about if these snacks that we're consuming 3 times more than we ever did before, if these are all processed, that can actually become like definitely like a big problem. Like that is something we need to address from a health standpoint. Now, I do want to say that I do think snacks can be great, as far as like tying over hungry bellies, stabilizing blood sugar. They're also another opportunity for like positive food exposure. So exposing your kids to foods that, you ultimately want them to be eating. It takes a long time for them to actually come around and accept new foods, but snacking certainly isn't all bad. I even eat snacks myself, but again, it's like when I need them, when I need to tie them to be tied over to the next meal, essentially. And Ellen Satter, who is an excellent like child feeding specialist, all about raising intuitive eaters, she is not against snacks, but she does recommend planned snacks. So if you feel like the snacking is maybe getting a little out of control with your kiddos, that is something you can try. Now, if this has you feeling a little bit panicked about maybe the quality of snacks that you've been feeding your kids, and you feel like you maybe need to make a change, and like I said, you're feeling a little panicked about it, it is really important that you allow balance for your kids. And allow me to explain a little bit. So when you are out in the wild and someone gives your kids some goldfish or, maybe a granola bar that's just super sugary and loaded with vegetable oils, not something that you would serve at home. When this happens to me, I actually, and you may be surprised by this, but I welcome these opportunities, not because I necessarily want my kids eating that kind of food, but I want them to see that it's no big deal and that I do not react to it. And I'm like, sure, yep, have the goldfish, enjoy, live your best life. So the reason I say this is because creating or helping to instill a healthy relationship with food within your kids is basically just as important as feeding them healthy food. It is also super healthy for them to, of course, have a healthy relationship with food. We don't want to be instilling fear or instilling disordered, eating behaviors or patterns into our kids. We want them to be able to go out into the world and enjoy all foods and maintain that natural ability to regulate themselves. We can certainly help them do that. And, while these are skills they're born with, we can kind of help them to hone them over time and really encourage those behaviors and trust in those behaviors. But we can't do that if we are extremely strict with what they eat, because we need for them to see that balance is okay and that food is neutral. So, when you're, again, out in the wild, or I guess when I am out in the wild and my kids get snacks that I wouldn't serve at home and I certainly wouldn't allow to be the majority of what they're snacking on, I am completely fine with it, and I don't even bat an eye, because again, that exposure to all foods and acceptance of all foods is just as important, in my opinion, and the opinion of, a lot of health professionals who are really knowledgeable when it comes to raising intuitive eaters. It's just not something that I concern myself with, because it's kind of all part of the plan. And again, I welcome it. I allow it, and I don't bat an eye, because I want my kids to see that all food is neutral, while at home they're still getting super healthy, nourishing food, and that's the majority of what they're getting, because that's what's most important. That's what makes up, the majority of their diet, the majority of their, the nutrition that's coming in is from the food that I make. So while I still have high control over the situation, which is what I want, I still certainly allow for balance. And I think that is so important to remember. And also, as moms, it lets us take a deep breath, and just kind of let go a little bit. So when we're at, the birthday party and there's candy and whatever else and cake and or, you know, we're at somewhere where they're passing out the goldfish or, you know, even like the Cheetos, which, ooh, that makes me cringe. But, you know, again, I'm not batting an eye. I'm letting my kids see that it's all good and I'm not worried about it, because it's not something to worry about since it's such a small percentage of what we actually eat. Now, I do want to say, you do not have to make snacking complicated. It can be as simple as like fruit and cheese or some plain yogurt with a little bit of jam mixed in. Popcorn is a great one if your kids are, you know, over 4. Nuts or vegetables and hummus, or like pita and hummus, or veggies with a little bit of homemade simple dressing. Like, it does not have to be complicated. I'm obviously sharing some more complicated recipes in this video. But if you want to keep it simple, please keep it simple. But if you want to, you know, kind of have a little bit more fun with this and make something more yummy, or maybe even have a couple recipes in your rhythm, your weekly rhythm that you crank out so that, you know, those healthier snacks are always available, then these are all great options. And also, if you're watching this and you're thinking, Becca, when the heck am I going to have time to start making protein bars from scratch? Like, you know, I totally get that completely. And I will say something that maybe you already do this, but if you don't, involve your kids in the process, because, you know, when are you going to find time alone in the kitchen to like also start making homemade snacks, you know, on top of like the basic everyday staple foods of like meals and things like that? You might not, but if you involve them in the process, there are so many benefits to getting your kids in the kitchen. I mean, they learn so many skills. They can, especially fine motor skills, but also just cooking skills in general. They can have more confidence. They bond with you. They're going to be exposed to so many more foods, which is going to help them to be more adventurous eaters. There's just so many benefits. So maybe you don't have time to do this alone and check it off your list, but bring them in with you. It's actually going to benefit them so much too, outside of just the healthy snacking. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you walk away with learning something new. Definitely check out the recipes that I made down below. They're all super yummy and also great, healthy, balanced snacks. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.